Well, this week it's all about Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, which is out now on Nintendo Switch. My review's up on IGN. I give it a 7. I think this is such a good game. I love it so much. We're going to talk about everything. Miranda is working on it for guides at IGN, so she's played like 40 hours of it. I'm around the same amount, so let's get into it. Miranda, just first impressions, what do you think of this one?
I generally like it a lot, though I think I like the original better, or the last one that we had
Oh.
better.
hmm
This one, it's hard, right? Like it's really pretty. I think they made a lot of really cool changes to improve the overall look and just kind of playability, some new items. But and you kind of get this, you definitely get into this in your review. Uh the custom features, so there's like a lot of things about like, building an island, but the building tools are very simple and you can't really share me's, you can't share the creations you do. Like there's this whole new place called the Palette House workshop, and that's where you make new treasures, you make new clothes, you can do a bunch of custom things, which is cool. So if you want to make a meat really close to something, that's a neat place. But at the same time, like when you're making me's, there's like limited skin tones. Like they've never heard of cool and warm skin tones before, and so
hmm
like in that sense too, it's really hard to get certain uh people with melanin like the right skin tone, like, and
Yeah.
that's really frustrating when there's just so much there. It's like, but you can make their outfit perfectly, or you can draw face paint, but it's just a lot of like weird little mismatches here and there. And that's all to say, like, those are the things I dislike. It's still super funny, like it's charming, it's fun to be in and see how people interact. I will say though, you put it perfectly in your review that it's like a great 20-minute game. Like if you
hmm
stay too long, you will see the same scenes over and over and over. And I'm like, all right, can I get like a different dream? And then suddenly you see a bunch of new stuff. And like in some way, it feels like the tracking internally in this game needs to be like shaken up. Like I just need to
hmm
like, I keep pulling the same cards, but I know like I didn't like the deck didn't shuffle well enough or something. And I'm trying to pull from the bottom, but it's not showing me the bottom yet. So that's kind of how I feel. And I don't feel like I had that fatigue in the same way with Tomodachi Life, the
hmm
original, but or at least the one that we got. Uh, that being said, I also didn't play it like crazy like I am right
Yeah,
now for
right.
guides.
Yeah,
So
it's an interesting one for a review period. Now, granted, we got this one pretty early.
yeah,
We've had this game longer than we usually get Nintendo games, which is great because I binged it a lot the first couple weeks, and then I started kind of settling into I'm gonna log in for 30 minutes every day, which is what I plan to continue doing now that it's out. And yeah, I think I've just gotten luckier than Miranda, and
yeah,
I don't feel like I've seen nearly as many repeats. Like I'm seeing different dreams. I'm still seeing different conversations at the restaurant that I haven't seen in my first 35 hours. Like
really,
yeah, it was me and Seth and somebody else were dressed up as robots and just talking like beep boop, and then like random phrases would be inserted. And it was great. I hadn't seen that before, and still seeing new daily newscasts. And so I still feel like I'm seeing lots of new things, but yes, there's some repeats. I call this out in my review. I'm already skipping the scenes when people are making new friends
oh
because
yeah,
it's do you feel like talking about insert whatever you said here. Oh yes, I love talking about whatever you just said. And that's repetitive, but I still think there's still lots of variety, and I just love the humor. Like this dry, quirky, weird humor is still so up my alley. Like there's one scene that I lead off my video review with where Jada Griffin has an enormous crush on Reggie Fils-Aimé. She's head over heels for him, and he couldn't care less about her. And there's this cutscene that started where Reggie is like walking. He's on the beach and he's walking towards this puddle, and he's gonna step in this puddle. And Jada freaks out. She's like, "No!" And she lays down this towel in the puddle. And Reggie stops and he's like, "Oh, that's all right." And then he just walks around the puddle, and Jada's just laying it. Here it is right now. She's just devastated, and Reggie's dressed up like a baseball catcher, and it's great. Like it's still got that heart and that charm that I just adore so much from the original. I love the Me News broadcast so much.
yeah,
I
those are
I
good.
still yeah, I think it has that same heart and charm from the first one that makes it I identify with this more than something like Animal Crossing or Pokopia in some ways, just because it's so personal and so funny, and the characters aren't these kind of blank slates they are in those games. Like they have their own lives, they do their own things, and we're just watching my video review laughing as we're seeing it because
I know
random crap
you
is
can be
happening.
talking like serious about something, and I'm just laughing because like I see Brian Altano in a cow suit eating a cookie.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, right?
That's the thing,
Yeah.
right? Like you can just really make this so much your own, and that's the same with the first one, right? You can just. I right now I'm making all of the Gears of War cast, and so like Marcus
Nice.
Phoenix and Dom got in like a huge fight at first. I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, actually, that's kind of spot on."
Yeah.
But then like a Dom fell in love with me at first sight, and I was like, "Wow, thanks." You know, it's kind of funny just seeing like who connects with who. I think right now, I'm about to have. So I got like it's like a weird place for fan fiction, right? Like I got to get the Nanas from the anime and manga Nana together, and they're married, and I'm like, this is the ideal situation. No, I mean, sorry to spoil things, but this is how I would like. It's not even technically over. It's never finished. Ideal situation for me. Or right now I have Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks is in a long-term relationship with Hatsune Miku. Things just happen, you know?
Sure, yeah.
It's just,
What a
just happens.
sentence.
yeah, and it's just like such a fun thing that you can sort of put together. That being said, I feel bad for just like harping on stuff. I'm really sad there isn't a compatibility tester.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
It sort of just feels like
Bummer.
you're kind of going and just hoping everything plays out. But if you force them together enough, because you can drag Miis together, the more you do that, the more likely they'll just get together or be friends if they're compatible, at least friends. And then it may take a longer time, but
Yeah.
romance is almost guaranteed if you keep forcing them together in like ideal situations. So
Yes.
in a way, I wonder if that's because they wanted that to be a bit more flexible for people to get like the outcomes they wanted in like this sort of fan fiction world of Tomodachi Life. But at the same time, I kind of it like reduces some of the chaos in a way, because it's like
I agree.
there's
Yeah.
like less firm ground.
It's like how I just feel all these games, like New Horizons, I felt the same way about. Like they just totally want it to be up to you and what you want, and so you can really, really manipulate it more,
Mhm.
but not always.
Yeah.
Still a lot of the time, but like it was something that just was hilarious that caught me off guard was usually I found that if a me asked me for my take on something, they would do whatever I said. And so Zelda and Jeff Probst, host of Survivor, were kind of had this on again, off again thing for the whole time I've been playing this game. And Zelda came to me and she's like, "Hey, I think I'm done with this guy. Like, what do you think?" And I'm like, "No, I want this to happen. I think you should give it another chance." And she said, okay, that's an interesting thought, but here's my counterpoint. No. And then it pops up on screen and it says ex-friends, they're done. And so she went against what I said, which I thought was
Wow.
really, really fun. That has only happened a couple times, but they do still live lives of their own, or you will log off for the night and come back the next day and Miis will be fighting
They'll
that
be
you didn't see the
furious.
fight happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, who did anyone fight? You said the Gears of War characters. Did you have any other big blow-ups on your
Oh
island?
yeah, I remember. There were a few, like there are some Genshin characters who were really mad at, I think I forget which other character it was. I have screenshots of everything, but they were just so angry. No, it was Nana and Shenhe from Genshin. So they were really mad at each other. And it's like, should they make up? But Nana's like the popular, everyone loves her. Like everyone's just, because she's like this cool, like rocker girl, and she's just very appealing to people, I guess. I was like, how is this happening? That's also totally accurate. Everyone
Mhm.
should be in love with her. But when they fought, they couldn't make up. And so they just were not friends. But then eventually they came back around to being like, actually, I really miss Nana. And it's like, yeah, go talk to her. And then they were like friends again. So you can see things kind of recover from that too.
Yeah.
Which I liked. I liked that a lot. But sorry, to bring up another frustration. It's so funny because of how different, again, like we played the same amount of time, how different
Mhm.
our times were. I had the hardest time getting anyone married. Like just nobody wanted,
Mhm.
everyone wanted to get married, but nobody would pop the question. I'm like, hello? What is happening? I tried every trick
Yeah.
in the book until like it just finally happened. And then I had like 3 marriages in a row and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. It took me a while too. I wanted to propose to my real life fiance for several days before
Yeah.
I finally did it. And yeah, that was my first marriage. And then a couple of Survivor contestants got married. I'm putting in the entire cast from
I
Survivor
love
50,
it.
which is going on right now, which has been a lot of fun. A lot of people noticed that in my review. But I already mentioned Reggie with Jada. Reggie has just been the biggest piece of drama on my entire island, because I logged on one day and Samus and Reggie had just gotten into this enormous fight. And something I really like that's a nice touch is when Mies fight, these kind of angry, aggressive drum beats invade the otherwise really chill music. It's like when you zoom in on the Mii, you hear like they're stomping around, and that is lining up with the
Yeah.
music, and it's a really nice touch. And they fought over who knew more about Survivor. That's the most popular show on my island. And there's this clip of Reggie going, "I won't forgive you." And then and Samus is depressed. So I go to her house and I give her a chicken suit and I remodel her house to look like a hamster cage. And she's like, "I feel so much better. Thank you for doing that." And then seconds later, she's like, "So what do you eat when you're feeling sick?" I'm like, "I don't know, like saltine crackers." And now everyone's just talking about saltine crackers on my island. And so then I go to Reggie, who just like broke up with his best friend, and Reggie doesn't care. He doesn't give a rat that they just had fought. He's like, "I want to talk to Shigeru Miyamoto. What should we talk about?" And I'm like, "Oh, you should talk about Wii Sports being a packing game on Nintendo Wii." And he goes to Miyamoto, which was a real conversation, real fight that those two had in real life, of course, if you remember, about the Wii. And so Reggie goes to Miyamoto and he's like, "Have you ever heard of a packing game?" And Miyamoto's like, "No, I haven't. Tell me all about this packing game." And he's like, "I'd love to. Let's hang out sometimes and discuss the packing game." Like, that happened in real life. I'm recreating Nintendo history here. Later, Reggie apologized and Samus and him are friends again. But it's just,
Yay.
yeah, these are just great scenarios that I just love watching play out.
So speaking about talking about packing games, I do love that you can type in anything. Like you can type in anything, which is probably
Yeah, no filter.
yeah, there's no filter. So it's like I can have Marcus say like shit yeah and stuff. Sorry, we gotta bleep that. But like just like really canonical things. So they just go on about like whatever he's saying. I think we have like a damn fine cup of coffee is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
On my island as well from Twin Peaks, and like there's just a lot of cool little moments. I guess going back to like how you're saying that when Mii's get upset, one thing I found that's really sweet is if you have a Mii who has an established like best friend or something, or really high up on their friends list, and you bring them to them when they're sad, they'll make them like instantly happy. And it's just kind of sweet to see those sorts of relationship moments play out.
Yeah.
I also like that they allow Miis to be gross. Like eventually you can unlock certain like identity traits for the Miis that you can give them as they level up. And one of them is that they fart a lot. And so my partner is really into Always Sunny. So I was like, "Hey, can you help me make some Always Sunny characters?" And so we just make them like the most vile Miis as possible. And it's just so funny. It's like Frank just keeps farting and just like looks around and stuff. It's really funny.
That's incredible. Very on
The
brand.
customization is just amazing, and it leads to this really great loop that I've
Mhm.
gotten a lot out of, where you level up your Miis by solving their problems that they bring to you, feeding them dinner, giving them gifts, and that can be clothes, treasures, pets. Like I drew this horrifying Kirby in the palette house where you can draw whatever you want, and I gave it to Tim Robinson and he loved it. Tim Robinson is like my favorite Mii I've ever made. I love him,
Aw.
and I've introduced him to zero people. He has no friends, so he's just this creep walking around the island who knows nobody, and he's like eavesdropping on conversations, and he's very awkward, and it's great. But you level these Miis up, and then when you level them up, you can give them quirks, which is what Miranda's talking about. Like you can I made Samus like walk like she's in low gravity, so it looks like she's on a planet from Metroid. Or you can give people catchphrases like Reggie says, "My body is ready." Brian begs for a Bloodborne remake when he's standing at the sea, screams out into the abyss, wearing his dog suit, asking for a Bloodborne remake.
I'm getting an
and it's
animated
just
movie.
great.
It's a start, you know?
Close.
Yeah, it's I know,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Yeah, I
it's
thought of you
alive in
this
some
week.
way.
It's only going to
Yeah.
be 30
But
FPS,
it's-
unfortunately, but
Oh no, yeah, it'll never get a Blu-ray release. It'll be on DVD
That's true.
forever. But I think it's just great that you want to take care of your Miis just because it's fun to do and see how they react. But then you're rewarded by leveling them up
Mhm.
and then getting to make them more like themselves in real life or different than themselves if you want. And it's just a really great. Like I want to keep going. It doesn't take that long to level anyone up ever. I just think that they really nailed that really short, repeatable thing to do.
I also quite like the palette house, and they predicted people like me who don't want to make things. I kind of said that before. It's like, I don't really want to make custom pets or books or food. And they're like, "You should go do this." And I'm like, I don't really want to. But they have a really simple system where they have like base items you can draw on. So like they'll have just like
Yeah.
a blank plate, and they have a bunch of stamps. So if you just want to quickly recolor something, like I made milk steak from Always Sunny. And so I had just like a steak and I just put like a grayish filter with like little ripples of the milk and sprinkles on top. And like the sprinkles are a stamp. And like it was just so easy to do that. And I appreciate they kind of thought ahead and be like, all right, listen, not everyone's going to want to do this, but we still want to have this be part of it to like make it just that much more interactive. And it is like fun and quick, and now it's just funny to see people talking about milk steak and dreaming about it. And I'm like, guys, not the milk steak.
Man.
Yeah, I like that too. You can like I there's just this egg template, so you just saw this Yoshi egg that I made from that, and it took I don't know less than 2 minutes because it's super easy. Or you can draw whatever you want, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But, Seth, I want to hear from you. What do you think of all this that we're talking about?
The thing that I love, I played the original a lot, obviously, because I did the guide for it, which I've mentioned 1,000 times. But one of the things that I find the most interesting and endearing about Tomodachi Life is that everything that you're saying right now, we're like laughing. It's so fun. Everything you and Miranda are discussing. If you came to me and said, "Oh man, I had the weirdest dream last night," Miyamoto and Reggie, I would zone right out. I would be like, I don't want to listen to you. But when you say it like in this context of this game, it's so fun and hilarious. And I am so excited to play this game. I'm bummed out there's no compatibility tester, because that was one of my favorite things about the original was
that
for
and
those
the
who didn't
concert
play.
hall.
Well, yeah, the
not in it,
concert hall.
which sucks.
But
yeah.
on the original, when it would show their compatibility, it would be like the Mii's head on like a stock footage from like an HR training video of like a person in a white shirt, and I just love that absurdity. I love the absurdity of this all. I'm really very excited. Like, how does it rate on the absurdity level versus the? I mean, I'm sure it's like probably 1-to-1.
I would say it's a little more on you to create those moments just because it does lean so heavily into you should drag people together. Like Logan was saying, you can have someone who's never met anybody. So like it is really on you to have those friendships and get people to say weird things. But at the same time, there are like dreams and other little things. You'll just see Mii's like fall over and they'll be like, help me. And then you can either help them by like poking them and like, or like, they're like, I'm frozen. I can't do anything. You have to like, just like noodle them around. Like, it's just really funny. So even with that, like, there's still a lot of light interactions. I guess that kind of brought me to another idea. It's a little bit off of what you're saying, but as far as absurdity, sometimes they'll ask for items to be placed in a very specific spot. They're like, I want this bench right here on the beach looking out at the ocean. But it's face backwards. And I'm like, guys, what are you doing?
Why do you want that? Yeah, what are you doing?
It's like, I really want this. Can you help me out? And you can just say no. But it's like funny how those little things happen. And there's all of that without you having to do too much input. But of course, they'll ask you for your thoughts, as Logan was saying, on like, what is your deepest secret? Or what was something your number one enemy would say to you? And so they'll still prompt you to kind of make these goofy scenes happen too.
Yeah. No, it's a lot more almost casual observation than like crazy bonkers sketches in this one. And that's because they are roaming around this island where your island on 3DS was a menu to take you to the apartments, to the homes, to the concert hall, wherever. But now it is this living space, and it is just entertaining to see where do they like to hang out and what are they doing? And they're sitting around this pet shark and they're talking about how they're secretly really scared of this pet and wish I hadn't given it to them. And like just little tiny things that are cute to watch play out. And it's more almost like parody of real life rather than, wow, look at this crazy concert these Mii's are putting on. And I find that very charming and I really like that, especially since you can make your island look like whatever you want. Like half of my houses are on this baseball field I built, and people are going to do crazy stuff with this island builder that I will never even be able to touch, but I think that it's going to be really fun to see what people do.
I can't wait to see what they do when they share them, right?
Oh, we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that plenty.
One really quick absurd thing. Sorry, I know we're like all over the map. That's Tomodachi Life. It's just everywhere. It's just a mess. It's like the puzzle pieces are hidden around the apartment and you have to find them in order to solve the puzzle, but there are also 3 different puzzles and you didn't know it. That's Tomodachi Life. It's just like, wait, what's happening? One thing that's really fun is if you have a lot of Mii's and there's just like a bunch of different relationships and friendships, sometimes you'll see them all meeting. I saw like 8 Mii's together just in a group, and one person was giving like a monologue and talking about like the value of like a seashell or something, and it was like this grayed out area, and they're all really intensely watching, and it's just funny to see that. And that's of course quite different from the original, where you could only have like one-to-one interactions really, and this one it like can
Yes.
bring so many together. And when you hover over them, you see all these like crisscross arrows of the relationships and who likes who isn't friends, who doesn't know each other. And I think that is also just such a fun thing to, as Logan was saying, just to watch and see what happens.
It sounds like a mutiny or a rebellion that you watched. Like these
Yeah.
people, like they're organizing. Yeah.
They gossip about you a lot, Brian. They're like they're talking about what they all call me Skipper. Like they're talking about like if Skipper's really a person or not, and they're talking about Skipper's true personality.
Wait a minute.
What he does when he's not looking at us.
That's what I told.
Yeah, but Brian, I know
them to
you're
call
a
me.
huge fan of the original.
Yeah, so I mentioned it a bunch on the show, but I pulled my 3DS out of a old desk drawer like a year ago, and my daughter and I just completely reconnected with it. And she's 7, and this became Tomodachi Life became far and her way her favorite video game the last year. And that's like, we got a Switch 2, we get, I try to get all the new games for her to play. I've got every console, and she's like, nope, I want to play Tomodachi Life on 3DS, because she's running in the other room and she's like laughing about all the relationship things. But yeah, one of the big things that she really loved about that game was the ability to, like, she took the 3DS camera and took pictures of the K-pop Demon Hunter poster in her room and put Rumi, Zoe, and Mira into the game as Mii's. And we pulled up these ancient websites with old QR codes, and it's like, okay, we've got Zelda in there now, we've got Peach. She's like, I want more. There's too many boys on the island, we need more girls on the island. So she was like, let's get Rosalina, and we went through like every old video game character we could, like, and they're all like really weird and charming, right? Because it's like the Mii's were originally designed to create people, and over the years people were like, what if I made Pac-Man? And it's like psychotic, right? Or I'm going to make a cartoon Peter Griffin or Scooby-Doo. And, I love all that stuff. And you throw all those ingredients in a pot together in that game, and they mix up really well and really interesting and sometimes really bizarre in very funny combinations. And this feels sort of like a slightly more polished version of that, or a lot more polished version of that. And I think with that it comes a lot more options, and also it loses a bit of that charm that you get just sort of inherently with playing, like in the same way we talked about like Animal Crossing 3DS versus the Switch one, right?
Yep.
Where I think there's just like there's a weird sort of jagged weirdness that comes with the 3DS version that sort of gets lost in like the HD super cleaned up version of it, right? In the same way when you watch like a 4K remaster of Star Wars, and you can see that that's a matte painting behind them and not an actual lived in place.
Space.
And so
There's beauty and limitations.
yeah, exactly. And so I think like on the 3DS version, right, we just saw a shot of it earlier. Like there's something on News Report where they're looking at this like really blurry picture of San Francisco that somebody clearly took with like an iPhone 5 or something, right? And it's like they're just not going to throw that in the new game in the same way. But I appreciate that the new game still has a lot of weird stuff. I am apprehensive about like the lack of sharing, and I know we're going to talk about that, but I find it. First of all, I find it stunning that Nintendo was like, no filters, no words. Look at that young Bill Trinan. No, you can say anything you want in this game. That feels so removed from their entire sort of design philosophy for forever, right?
Yep.
It's shocking.
Yeah, and at the same time, they saw such success during the pandemic with the connectivity in Animal Crossing and people finding these ways to join each other's islands and share creations and stuff like that. And so I find it kind of odd that that's difficult now. Like Logan, I have a bunch of Mii's on my 3DS that I really want to bring to this game. And the idea of having to go through this very cumbersome path to do that is, I think, just enough friction that the average player who's kind of like a hardcore old school Nintendo fan like me and all of us here that have those old games and those old Mii's, I don't know if they're going to go through that, right? And so that's the sort of like push and pull that I'm expecting when I finally sit down to play it. I'm super excited for it, and I know my daughter and I are going to play it a ton. I'm a little worried about that element of it.
Yeah, and you're hitting on. I mean, I really love this game. You are starting to hit on the biggest reason that it got a 7 instead of an 8 or a 9, and that is these communication limitations. Because to me, it's mind-boggling to me that you cannot share Mii's, you cannot share creations, and you cannot easily pull screenshots from your device. And there's so many reasons that you could say it's legal reasons, it's copyright reasons. They want to protect younger players, and these could all be legitimate. And obviously, protecting kids is super important, and it should be. But I think that there's a lot of things they could have done to keep this game a safe experience for younger players. I mean, there's parental controls, there's opt-ins, there's so many things they could have done that they didn't. And instead, it just feels like, oh well, it's uncensored. You can do whatever you want. And that one kid in the back corner of the class did something bad, and now the whole class misses recess.
Right.
And that it just feels terrible to me.
Yeah, I'd way rather have like censored words and phrases and things and imagery for this rather than not being able to like share things at all. Because like ultimately, I really want a cool Zelda, I want a cool Link, but do I want to make them
Yeah.
again? I'd rather just download them, or I want to
Yeah.
share like my Dale Cooper, or I want to share some cool of my Genshin characters together. Like there's a lot that I wish I could also put out there that I think are like charming or interesting. And I know, again, as Logan was saying, that people are out there going to make like some really cool stuff. And I will never be able to recreate that because
No.
I have to go in pixel by pixel. I need to go find a stylus to use for my DS and hope that my limited art skills could like recreate what they make in Palette House, which is, it's just not going to happen. So
Mhm.
it's just, that is such a bummer because and just knowing how many cool things there are out there for Animal Crossing and how much I used all those codes to download to make cool paths and other things, like having that gone makes me want to interact with some of those systems a lot less.
Yeah, and I think that's completely spot on. And I think it's what's interesting now is that, you know, with the 3DS and pretty much every handheld system Nintendo ever made, your only option to share those things was, you know, there was a like a screenshot button that you had to like put on an SD card and stuff like that, or you could like take your phone and film it. But like capture cards are ubiquitous now. Twitch streaming is ubiquitous now. Discord, like there's all these ways you can hook your Switch up to pretty much any technology you have and record all this stuff anyway. So it's
Yep.
sort of like the worst of both worlds where we lose the ability to share, but their genie is still going to get out of the bottle, right? And so people are going
already
to, it already
has.
is like
Yeah.
the game's out. So
And that's the whole thing. Like this as Logan, you put it perfectly. Like this is such a shareable game. Why wouldn't I want to share this really funny thing? Why I don't want. Of course, I want to tell people Dale Cooper is getting married to Hatsune Miku. That's so weird and
Yeah.
funny, and like the reactions
Yeah.
they have and the phrases we've made. And it's not like you can't get the screenshots off your Switch. Like it's still possible. It's just they removed like the easiest option to make
Yeah.
it just a little bit
Mhm.
harder. So it's just such a strange way for them
It's-
to go about this whole thing.
It's such a bummer too because that's free marketing for this
Oh, yeah.
game. Is everybody sharing
is.
and like becoming a viral thing for like 3 months of everyone just share the most ridiculous stuff. And now we can't. I don't know. I have to wonder if maybe they will allow it in the future with an update, but even then I think it'll probably be, you know, too little too late.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too because like we've been playing a lot of Super Mario Wonder at home, which has fixed all of my problems with the base game 3 years ago, right? And like, and I was talking about this with Pear the other day about how like all of our biggest complaints about that game are now fixed, and it's a completely different game. I love it so much. I love that I can say Super Mario Wonder and it just appears on screen. Amazing.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks, Tao. You're a wizard. But that took 3 years, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like the life cycle on a game like Tomodachi Life, they'll add content, they'll add stuff to it, but like I want that stuff right now. And obviously,
Yeah.
there's a technical limitation, right? The Switch 2 doesn't have a camera on it. Like you can plug a camera into it, and you could theoretically scan
That
it.
we all bought and has been used for
Yes,
nothing.
yes.
This would have been
No.
perfect for
I know
it.
and so like I don't know. There's got to be a way to share Mii's because like people are making really cool stuff. Logan, I'm looking at your game and I'm like, I want some of these people in my world, right? And there's no real way to do that. And like you asked me to get I made my character in the demo version, and then I took pictures of it and then sent it to you, and you were able to put it in your game. And that works if like you have somebody's number, or you know maybe you find something on a Reddit. That's sort of a make good. You know, it's a half measure, but
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, there's again like on the 3DS version, which is over a decade old. You hold up the thing, you scan a QR code on a website that's still around, and all of a sudden like Pac-Man and Scooby-Doo and everybody else is in your game. And Yeah, they need something like that here, because otherwise it's such a bummer.
We are going to keep talking about this, but sadly we have to say goodbye to Miranda for now.
No!
She's got an appointment to run off to. So Miranda, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. If you guys need help getting started in this game or like learning about progression, I have unlocked basically everything I think you can. It goes really, really fast. But if you need a little extra help, I'll have a beginner's guide and tips later today on IGN for a guide. But otherwise, it was a pleasure to talk. And I'm sorry for being so negative. I think I just have very high expectations, and some of it was a bit of a bummer.
That's
but
all good.
overall, I'm enjoying
Yeah,
it.
it is.
And I'm really excited to share these very weird screenshots that I have. So,
Yeah, thanks so much, Miranda. Come back anytime. NVC will be right back. Thanks for watching this clip from Nintendo Voice Chat. Be sure to catch the full episode over at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of NVC drop every Friday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. With the Nintendo Switch 2 finally here, there is so much to dive into. We appreciate you tuning in, and don't forget, NVC is the only place you can get the thing.